Hey, howdy! I'm back. We're doing some more Momentum mod. I think my plan for today is I kind of want to run through the rest of the maps that I've actually cleared that I am decently confident that I can clear. And then if I have time left over, I kind of want to do some of the beta maps as well. If we don't get to it today, we can just get to it next time. But yeah. It is going to be more or less business as usual. Because I think I've explained most of the really nuanced, weird stuff about rocket jumping in the previous video. So this is more just going to be me. It's going to be more casual. Ah, almost. But yeah, things have been good. I've been learning all sorts of new fancy Python libraries that I did not know before. Chief among them is Selenium. Now, if you've never heard of Selenium before, it is interesting. It is a web page automation library that technically you could use a library that, like, takes control of your mouse and keyboard and then runs from there, but not only is that kind of inefficient, but also if you're trying to multitask, it is not super amenable to multitasking. Oh, I almost got that sync. I've been trying to get that, and that would be super cool if I managed it, but it is what it is. But yeah, so it's web page automation. So for my job, the end goal is we have a set of carrier portals where we get all of the data for when we're doing like analysis and doing stuff for clients. We have to deal with the fact that big insurance companies are as big insurance companies do, and because of a combination of HIPAA and company whatever, they are obligated to give us as little as possible. And they're also not obligated to make it any easier for us. So it's a funny situation to be in, and we have seemingly, like before I even got there, they had tried to work out a system before, and it kind of works, but not really, because, like, having to rely on a third-party service is not pleasant. But, now that I'm here, I could just use Selenium and, like, rig up a system to pull carrier data automatically, and then problem solved, right? I'm still waiting for confirmation of if that's something I can even do, because I kind of, like, I need an account, I need, like, two-factor authentication is going to be a problem, I can already tell. This map might be trouble, we'll see. The final jump here is a pain in the ass. That does kind of apply to all of these maps, but, like, this one especially, it is I think a triple sink? It's a 3-rocket sink above, like, a giant pit of water. You'll see it later. Because I'm confident I can get through every other jump, it's just that last one is kind of frustrating. But yeah, if I can do it, that'll be awesome. And it's been weird, because I've been working at this company for over a year now, I guess. And I'm a very anxious person, I know this about myself, and owe it to the anxiety itself or more like abstract self-worth stuff, but I keep having to tell myself that I am actually worthy of earning these paychecks. Because I've just been having like these moments of like, everyone else seems like they're super busy. And here I am, I effectively work half as much as they do because most of my time is spent either writing code or waiting for code to run. And it's been an interesting thing to grapple with. And I know it's irrational because it's like, even with the projects that I did earlier in the year, it seems like it is wanted. Like there is a need for it, and also like everyone I've talked to about it has been grateful. But you know, Anxiety is not rational. I wish it was. It would be easier to deal with, but it is not rational. But that's been fun. The other thing that I've been messing around with is I finally found a way to I finally bit the bullet and just downloaded Love, just like the Linux build of it. It was kind of annoying to set up, but now that it's set up, I can just run stuff from the terminal. I do not have to use Wine anymore, which means my weird issue is gone now. I don't have to worry about the program crashing every other time. Meaning, no promises on when this is going to happen because I've been busy, but I kind of want to get back into making games in Love. Let's see if I can get this. Almost. Ah, damn it. The thing is, like, I know this is a triple and not a quad, but it sure does feel annoying. The trick is that this is a water jump with 3 rockets. Ooh. Hey, that almost worked. I just need to angle it right. And this is one where if I don't beat my time, I could not care less because this is a jump that I consistently struggle with. I'm gonna give it like about a minute or so worth of attempts. And then I can show off in the replay how you're actually supposed to do this. Ah, that was finicky, but it almost worked. But yeah, I have ideas for games that I wanted to make in Love. One of them would just be a full port of that Isaac mod that I made. Or I guess that applies to multiple, so I would have to be more specific. The Bejeweled mod. Hey, I got it. I did not beat my time, but I did nail it. Are there bonuses? Are these bonuses, or are these just spots in the wall? Okay. Alright, I'm actually pretty happy I got that. This next one I am not going to beat my time because this is a pogo-based map, and I don't know what I was on when I got the record for this. I was moving like lightning. One sec. Let me put my phone over here. I can deal with that later. Usually when I record this, it's like 4. It's like 1:30 right now because there was a boot camp that I was required to attend because I've technically been here for technically been at the company for less than a year, even though I've actually been there for more than a year. It's complicated, but anyway. They technically had stuff rolling all the way through, like, 4 p.m., and then they have, like, a bowling event or something, but I am not necessarily in the mood for bowling, and also everything past noon was, like, the AI playbook and you, and it's like, I'm fine. That is, like, not only do I not necessarily glom with AI stuff in general, but that's very clearly meant for the account analysts and not for me. I've kind of been, like, hanging on because some of this stuff is just, like, more generic, like, insurance information, and that is the stuff that could actually help me. Because I am but a vessel who's doing these things so that I can help other people. That doesn't necessarily mean that I need to know the exact playbook for how people do their jobs and get clients. And get people to sign in get people to sign in the dotted line for their book of business. And even if I would want to know about that, I would probably just ask one of the AAs if I could get lunch or something. Probably be better than sitting in a classroom for 4 hours like it's high school. The one downside is so hot in this room, and I chalk up part of that to the fact that my tower is right here. Oh god, this jump is kind of obnoxious. There's 2 lanes technically, but they're not. Neither of them are particularly pleasant. There we go. And this one you can kind of cheese by like. There we go. You can kind of like go around. Hey! Oh my god, that speed shot at the end was crazy. Alright. Next we'll do Serenity. This is a classic, classic, classic. But yeah, it's been interesting to learn about insurance, because the thing that I didn't realize until like a couple weeks ago, healthcare is one of the largest employers in America. Like, it is fully supplanted manufacturing. I always kind of assumed that manufacturing was always the king for like new job openings, but no, healthcare has apparently beaten it for a while now. Which, all things considered, that kind of makes sense, because I am not the only person that I've, of like a friend who has gotten a job in healthcare, like, healthcare data specifically. I'm not the only person that I can think of in my, like, immediate friend group who has a job like that. Those walls are obnoxious, because there are invisible walls there. You can What did I just do? Hold that thought. What did I just bounce off of? Okay. I'm not the only person that I know who has a job in healthcare data specifically, which is a little funny. Because for the longest time, it was apparently manufacturing and, like, factory jobs. And I have to imagine owing it to either, like, a shift in the economy or because of robotics, that number has gone down significantly, but they still do need people in manufacturing. Wow, okay. I kind of assumed that I flubbed that, but still right on schedule. Oop, no, that's a flub. Okay. This is a fun jump right at the end. I don't think I have enough speed for this, no. This jump is technically supposed to end with a sink, to my understanding, but if you're going fast enough, you can just completely skip it. Ugh. Almost. Things like that are always kind of tricky. But yeah, love. I have ideas. I'm always... I mean, if you know anything about me from... There we go. From my Isaac days, I'm always machinating. I'm always thinking of, like, ridiculous projects that I could potentially be working on. And it's just as well that I got a job doing what I do, because that's kind of half my job. Is machinating and, like, looking at specific facets of the company and going, okay, how do I like optimize this? How do I automate this? So this is low-key my my ideal job. And like what I do from here, I suppose, is up to me. But I'm having way too much fun with this. And also, it's in a position where the company that I'm working at is an insurance broker. To be clear, we are not affiliated with the insurance companies, and we hate them. Or we don't hate them. We do business with them, but... a lot of insurance companies will just make up shit. For lack of a better term. A lot of insurance companies will just make up numbers, and The job of the broker is to, like, call them out on that and make sure that they're giving accurate data. Okay, here's a bounce. This is where things might get a little annoying. Depends on how fast I get this. Beautiful. Okay, that wasn't that bad then. Oop. Nah. God, that time difference. And here, I think you're supposed to use these walls. You're supposed to, like, get a bunch of speed and go from there. You can just jump off of a lip. So, it's fine. I do that in every run, so it's not going to affect my time negatively or anything. Ah. You saw the vision. But yeah, I've been machinating. I have tons of ideas. I can't wait to put one down on paper, or if nothing else, just remaster the remaster Pearls and, like, fully get it on paper and put it on, like, I don't know, Steam or something. Steam or, like, Itch. I might just put it on Itch. Or I could just do both. There's no exclusivity clause with putting stuff on Steam versus itch.io. Which makes me kind of want to try doing both then, because the fun thing about Itch is that there's way less of a cut taken from the publisher. And I will say, as much as I like to be nostalgic about the old days of browser games, I am so happy we don't live in a Big Fish Games era anymore. Because I've talked about this before, and it is, like, low-key fascinating to see how this affected the market. But it really did affect the market, having a bunch of companies like Big Fish Games and Gamehouse and Wild Tangent. And, like, the way that they did business and how it, like, genuinely affected the way that people made video games for browsers. In kind of the same way as the games in the NES era still had to deal with it still had to, like, grapple with the rental market. And, like, how the rental market often affected games pretty negatively because there were a lot of NES developers that went into game development with the intention of making a game that would be captivating for a long enough period that it would run out the clock, basically. In a similar kind of way as, like, arcade games, and how arcade games are designed to be very fun, but also, like, stop you constantly asking for more quarters. Similar premise. That if a game could be good in the rental market, then it would sell well. And, like, a good analog would actually be streaming. And how you can make the argument... I'm trying to cheese this, by the way. You can make the argument that streaming is a net positive when it comes to, like, movie and show distribution, especially. Like, I'd be willing to hear arguments either way. But the bottom line is that there's a lot of shows that are fundamentally different now that there is the expectation that it will go on a streaming service and not on television. And hey, I mean, it goes both ways. TV was the exact same way. It's how you ended up with, like, serial TV shows and, like, reality TV. How did I even... Okay. Reality TV and, like, tune in next week to find out what happens next. Like, you look at, like, reality television or, like, anime, you look at, like, Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is, like, the quintessential... Why do I keep bonking there? Dragon Ball is, like, the quintessential anime that works exactly like that. And there's a reason why, like, Dragon Ball has a reputation for tons and tons and tons of cliffhangers and, like, big charging sequences that you could technically join in at any moment and still get the full experience. And you can make an argument either way for whether that was good or bad for the medium. But it definitely had an effect. Ooh, I didn't realize those were solid. But you end up with kind of a similar thing. You ended up with kind of a similar thing where a lot of games were designed to be, like, very interesting, but also quite long and like, very similar. It's just the same. It would be like simple engines built out to have a ton of levels so that you'd be incentivized to go back and replay it over and over again until the trial period ran out. Like, when I was... You don't have to watch this if you don't want to, because, like, all of my old videos before a certain point, the audio quality is just not good. And this is something that I kind of grappled with over time, and I feel like I've gotten somewhat better at it. Let me know if the mic audio is too quiet on this. But when I was playing Turtle Odyssey, there was a definite moment where you could tell that it was made with the expectation that no one was going to finish it in one sitting, because one sitting was like somewhere between 30 to 60 minutes. And that game, I think, was slightly more than that. It was like, I think I finished it in like 70 minutes, which means, like, multiply that by whatever constant for me being an experienced gamer. Most casual gamers would not have made it through that entire game in one sitting. Or they would have made it to, like, a certain stopping point. They would have made it to the end of a certain world and then stopped for the day. Or they would have, like, cut their losses and ended the trial. And every time something like that pops up, it is, you know, it's noticeable. Doesn't mean it's not interesting, but it is like, I see what you're doing. Keying into intent is a very weird thing. And you have to be careful with that kind of stuff. Like, keying into intent and, like, paying attention to why someone is doing the things that they do, because it will ruin certain things for you. Like, that's always something that I've, about, like, movies and animation especially, like, if you... Not necessarily saying if you love animation, don't become an animator, but, like, there's a certain point of, like, dissecting how the sausage is made when it comes to animation and how, like, stories are told that does kind of ruin the experience, at least for me. I know some people get a kick out of that. But I'm not one of those people. I've always found that movies are most fun, especially, like, animated movies, when you can enjoy it and, like, enjoy the craftsmanship that went into it without, like, bending over backwards to analyze what's going on. Oh, this isn't gonna make it. Barely not. This one I could probably cheese, right? Yeah, because there's a shelf there. Ooh. Okay, wait, I can kind of cheese it. I might also just be able to sit up. Yeah, I can just sit up here and then... There we go. I'm very nostalgic for this, like, sharp MS Paint magenta. It always makes me think of Little Big Planet 2. Feels like I know that sounds like a deep cut, but so the way that I think it was holograms, right? In that game, in Little Big Planet 2, there was in the first game there were lights. There were, like, light sources that you could customize their color. And in the second game, they added, like, specific types of terrain that also had those properties, and it was holograms and sticker panels, I think, were the two. Holograms were, like, translucent and had, like, a weird, like, scanline effect on it. And then sticker panels were, like, perfect color, perfect, like, solid color until you put a sticker on them, and then they would, the panel itself would become invisible, and the sticker would be tinted with the color. Sticker panels were one of those things that I kind of wish they had added in the first game, because that is such a it's such a deeply useful property to have, is to just be able to put a sticker in space. Kind of ruins the, like, craftwork vibe of the first game. But for the second game, it was so helpful. More than words can say. Oh, almost. I can see the vision. Oop. Hey, barely. And this is the victory lap, is just slide down. Hell yeah. 376 out of 750. That's almost, like, perfectly split down the middle. And I do not remember these bonuses. I don't know if I'm... Oh, God, yeah, nope. I hate that one. That one's obnoxious. And then this one is, like... I don't even recall what this one is. This is just, like, a really... This is just a really long stretch of these, like, panels, right? It's just a really long wall. A really long, like, wall pogo. Oh god, yeah, and then this one is a wall climb. You have to go all the way down, and then I assume along... Yeah, down, like, along the wall, and then back up. And then I think you... Because of the way that this is oriented, I think you have to do that twice. Because you do it once, and then there's probably, like, a spot over there that you can sit, and then twice along that wall to get up here. Fine. Fun map, though. I do like this one. Summer. Oh my god, this is a classic. Like, very fitting, because this is a map that I would lab out over and over again last summer. So I'm probably going to get owned by the personal best here, because my personal best for this map is crazy. I can hear someone behind me, too. Awesome. Something that I will give this game, and it's not something that you would immediately think of. There is full multiplayer support, and it is, because of the way that it works on the back end, there is no lag. Because it's just, like, casting everyone's multiplayer, like, position and orientation to your game. They're not actually connected. And because they can never interact with you. But that means that every map is loaded individually, so there is no lag on any of these servers. Even if there were 100 people here, it would still be just as smooth as if there was just one, which is awesome. I love that they did that. It makes this very fun. It makes this potentially very fun as a social game, where you just have 64 people in one room doing like a surf map and just chatting. This is a very, very good chat room game, even though there's so few people online. Yeah, there's 3 people in the server right now. I'm not necessarily caring about getting a good time here because I'm already so far behind. It can be somewhat demeaning to have that constant plus 20, plus 30 off to the side, I will admit. But it is a good feeling to actually get a personal best. It's just, you know, after a certain point you are kind of just whacking your head into a wall and like trying to replicate like one really miraculous speed shot that you got that one time that shaved off 10 seconds. Oops. There we go. I'm pretty sure if you get enough speed, you can just jump out of there without having to sink. I forget if I get that in my personal best there. I can... This is one where I will absolutely check the personal best, because the PB for this map is crazy. Nope. I went too fast. I reached for the secret too soon. I wonder what like shape this game's community will take once it eventually leaves the playtest phase. Because it is still technically in the playtest phase. It won't be like that forever, but for the time being, it certainly is. Oops. Yeah, not terrible. Let me actually go to local. Let me find my best here. You'll see, like, this is actually a pretty damn good run. Not perfect, but, like, definitely better. Ooh. Ah. So anytime that you can chain multiple jumps together, it is the best feeling in the world. Ooh. Pogos are always kind of obnoxious. Oops, wrong button, hang on. There we go. There's like a slow crawl up that you have to do, and I think there's a way to optimize that. I don't fully understand it. But yeah, the anxiety... The anxiety has been interesting, because, like, the more that I think about it, the more that I realize that I absolutely do have like, either, like, social anxiety or, like, a more general anxiety. It's hard to put into words, because it's, like... It's not crippling, is the thing. And, like, I already had this whole conversation last time about, like, the DSM and, like, what qualifies as a disorder, is that it kind of, by definition, it has to be crippling. But, like, I definitely feel that it's there. I just don't know if it's, like, severe enough that I would ever want to get it, like, dealt with, because 9 times out of 10 it is not a problem. But just every once in a while it will come up and it will be, like, noticeable, like, okay, this is anxiety. Okay, this is what that feels like. Ooh. Very nice. Can you get up here? Hey, we got it. We completely skipped that. I got that sync too. Oh my god, I'm on fire. Are you serious? That is something I've never done before. Just went. I think what happened is I flew all the way up and hit the I hit the kill plane up there that was associated with the previous jump, and it just warped me all the way back. That was interesting. Oh, wait, right. This is a Poco. See, a lot of these jumps feel like different kinds of jumps than what they actually are because there's tons of speed tech put into them. There's so many, like, climbable walls and potential for, like, shenanigans there. Oop. Oh. No! There goes my time. There goes my time save, I guess. There's quite a lot of that. You make it, you get a bunch of time saved, and then fumble it, and then you just see all of your advantage slip away into the ether. But then sometimes you hit a jump like that, and suddenly I'm above pace again. Hang on, I need a triple sync for this. Nah. Come on, you. Jeez, okay. One more try. Come on. Alright, double it is. Sheesh. I need at least a rocket when I do this. I hit the ceiling. Okay. Yeah, I need like a little bit extra boost if I am going for a triple. There we go. That might be good? No, I think I barely... Lee! Okay, I have not explained edge bugs. So, that is also a bug. I guess I just called it an edge bug, so bug makes sense. So, there is a quirk in Source Engine where if you are flying towards a ledge with a certain amount of speed, there is a small frame window. There's a small, like, not frame window, rather, but, like, hammer unit window where you can skate along and not lose any of your speed. It's very inconsistent. I think I've even seen maps that are designed around those edge bugs. They're not super pleasant to play in a similar kind of ways like bounces, where after a certain point you are just banging your head against a wall to make the frame perfect trick work. There are probably ways to make edge bugs more consistent, and the map is kind of designed so that you can learn, but that doesn't make it fun, is the problem. It's still kind of a headache. But it is there. And technically speaking, high-tier maps could include edge bugs as, like, a mechanic. But I think most map makers don't really like using it out of principle because of how precise it is. And I feel like the player base thanks them for it. Oops. Ah, that was almost really cool. My mortal enemy, speed shots. It's a type of jump that I'm consistently not very good at, especially when it's spaced kind of awkwardly. Now that is a trick that you can kind of get away with sometimes, is you see I'm not holding crouch. There are instances where it is better to not hold crouch when you do a jump. Now, I feel like this doesn't quite work because I end up too close to the ground when I do a pogo. There are absolutely situations where it would be better to do an uncrouched jump because it's the exact amount of height that you need. Hey, we got him. Oop. Splatting against the side of it like a bug. And this, I'm going to try and do this legitimately, but there is a way to cheese it. I have seen it done before. The other problem is that this is not a pleasant jump otherwise. It's just... There are 3 different pogo platforms that I need to be at exactly the right height for. And if I mess it up, I will just bonk against the floor. There we go. And then over here, rinse and repeat. Right, it's that darkness, I think, is the cue. Over a minute of difference is crazy, by the way. Oop. That minute of difference is entirely me being bad at that jump and trying to cheese it. There we go. And then one more for the road. Ooh. Hey, nice. It's actually not a bad time. Especially while I'm recording. That was great. Sussex, I think I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna try Junk. No promises on me finishing this one, but this is fun. This is a fun map. This is another one that is a super, super, super old map, so a lot of the conventions aren't necessarily here yet, for better and for worse. You'll see the better. Hang on, I need to reset. That was not... Yeah, but I've been thinking about adding some more games to my repertoire. Both, like, games that I can actually play and enjoy and go, wow, that was good, and also games that would just be kind of funny to have. A game that I've been thinking about for a long time that I would eventually want to get, either... it would be hilarious to get it in physical, but I will probably be emulating it, is Lego Battles. Now, that will probably set off nostalgia bells for, like, a grand total of, like, 5 or 6 of you. If that... So, Lego Battles, it is pretty clearly a Lego game that was made during Blizzard's heyday. It is a Lego, like, Fire Emblem-ish. It almost feels like a Warcraft or StarCraft kind of strategy game. And when I say Warcraft, I mean old Warcraft, to be clear. World of Warcraft is almost entirely different. This is like the old, like, Warcraft 3 kind of junk. Where it's like more of like a weird tactical RPG with various stipulations. And like StarCraft was that but sci-fi. Warcraft was that but Lord of the Rings. And they kind of like added more details over time to make it more unique. This is a fun jump. So there's a conveyor there that's pushing me, and I have to, like, bounce like that. There we go. So I escape the pole. This map is, this jump is uncomfortable to be in because of all the flashing. I will try and be here as little as possible. Okay, cool. Ah. But yeah, Lego Battles is a game that I've kind of had my eye on for a while because I have a ton of nostalgia for it, and I'm operating under the impression that it's, like, fine to pretty good, as is the case with DS games. A lot of them are, like, barely games. But the ones that aren't, or the ones that are more than just, like, kind of just whatever, the next evolution of the GBA, are, like, some of the best games I've ever played. Or at least, like, very fun and interesting. Let me see if I can get this first try. Nah. This is an annoying jump. You have to go like 90% of the way up that, and then jump onto the pillar and get like a few jumps off to clear the rest of the height before you fall off. Oop, yeah, there's the ceiling. There's probably a better way to do this. I don't know it. Yeah. And then the jump after this is also kind of obnoxious, so I'm fine with just stopping and moving on. Sketchy. There's Pump. Pump is fun, it's long. I'm kind of surprised that this is a tier 3 map. It's not as hard as some of these other ones. But I think it's just because it ends with I believe this one ends with a quad sink. It's a relatively forgiving one, but it is a quad sink, which makes it kind of a headache to clear. I will always remember when I was still learning how to do rocket jumps, I was just like hanging out in the like just like the rotating map server for Jump Academy. And I was listening to someone talk about these maps, like the way that they're structured and like the different types of jumps. And the thing that always stuck with me was how they explained tiers. I think that the wording that they used, it was like, how much of a life you don't have, or something like that, and I always liked that phrasing. Because technically, I think these maps are only supposed to go up to tier 7? But there are maps that go all the way up to tier 10, and oh boy do they earn that. So at a certain point, it is just pure CBT. It's just not fun after a certain point, though some people do quite like it. This jump I never really knew how to do consistently. There we go. You kind of have to backpedal a little bit. Nice. And this is, I mentioned Situde last time, but this is the quintessential Situde map. So it has all of her hallmarks, and also, I mentioned before that it ends with a quad that's kind of obnoxious. That's also also something that's very common. Because like quad and quint sinks, they're not... Like, I can't even act like they're not hard, not that hard, they're pretty hard. It's just that like I'm like kind of used to them at this point. Ooh, nice. they weren't lined up right. Because the trick is that when you're doing triples and above, you have to worry about the rockets themselves being close together. Or else they'll be like too spaced out and then you won't get as much velocity from them. And the more rockets you add to that equation, it gets exponentially harder to keep them all clumped together until the right moment. You have to get really good at either get really good at timing them, or get really good at spacing them. I do not like jumps like this. It's obnoxious. There we go. Ooh, jeez. This one you can kind of cheese. Oop. Okay, hang on. Damn it. I keep seeing the rocket. And then being like barely too early. There we go. I can kind of just ride that all the way over. This jump sucks. So I can never tell how you're supposed to do this, besides just that exact thing. But these jumps are everything that is obnoxious about Pogos, but also there's that drop right before. Ah, I almost got that first try. There's absolutely a rhythm to these, but I don't fully get that rhythm. You can definitely tell which jumps I got stuck on in this attempt alone. There we go. I didn't get that sync, but it's fine. Alright, it's time for Judgment Day. So, it's 1, 2, catch on that ledge, get a third, and then 4 all the way up to that red. I've seen worse, but it's not pleasant. That was way off. I did manage to see all 4 of the red shines, at least, so, like, that's something. And I completely whiffed that. You have to get that 4th rocket in. You cannot do this with 3, and I've tried. Ooh, maybe? No, not quite. That was too early. I think the reason why I'm getting such big time saves on the rest of this map is because this ending is such a headache. Oop. No. Darn it. Yeah. I wonder if there's a way that you can do it, like, from here and not do the wind-up jump. Yeah, those were not even close to being bunched together. Nah. Oop. Ah, almost. I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me actually quit out, go to local, go here, and then skip to the end to show what a finished attempt of this actually looks like. There we go. Nice and bunched, you get the fourth, and then you ride it all the way up to the top. And I got it barely. Are there any others that I want to show off today? Because we're coming up on an hour anyway. Let's do straight. Babylon is also a classic, but it can be a little finicky. Let's do straight. This one isn't too egregiously hard. It's just kind of long. Darn. And I think the plan for next time, because I didn't quite make it through all the tier 2s, there's still a couple that I'm missing, is I want to do the rest of those, and then I want to show off some of the beta maps, because the beta maps are very fun. Not the kind of maps that you would expect. There's some weird, like, outliers and unusual maps, which I'm always a fan of the weird and wacky. And oh boy, that's certainly what those are. Oh, hey, nice. That's a speed shot. Please. Oh, okay. Hang on. That is ground I cannot walk on. That's interesting. Man. I don't know why I'm very tired right now for some reason. So what am I doing for time? 58 minutes. Yeah, I still have a little bit longer. Damn it. Yeah, this is a hard one, because you need to be in a very specific vertical position to line up at the floor there. Now, is this climbable? It is, okay. Oh, almost. Ooh. I have seen this type of jump before. There's one of these in Twix, I think, and it is also a massive headache. It is the reason why I can't reliably finish that map. So I keep getting caught out by this specific kind of jump. Okay, I think I'm good. My throat. my my mouth does not like the fact that my throat does not like the fact that I've been talking at length for like an hour. So I'm gonna stop for now, and we can do the rest of the tier twos and the beta maps later. But yeah, that's all I got for now. Thanks so much for watching, y'all.